Hey guys, this is a weird video for me, but I've been playing guitar for I suppose 30 years now, and a couple of times a year, perhaps three, four, I get this question from parents mostly. I suppose it's because of my age. Okay, my child is gonna start playing guitar. What kind of guitar should I get? It's a tricky question actually to answer. Or I'm middle-aged, I'm taking up guitar as a sort of a, middle-aged thing. What kind of guitar should I get? And I never actually had any really good answers to that question because it's hard to sort of summarize. So I'm doing this video to, well, highlight some points I think you should look for. And, I hope it helps. And in the future, when people ask me, Daniel, what kind of guitar should I get? You know what? I made a video about that. You should probably check it out. If you like the content, please let me know in the comment or email me. It's fine. And please subscribe to the channel. It's all good. And, it makes me happy. It makes the algorithm happy, I suppose. And yeah, let's dive into this, man. What kind of guitar should I buy as a first guitar? This video is made sort of as a public service announcement, I guess. It's about that tricky time when you have to buy your very first electric guitar, okay? And that's a daunting task. I mean, if you have no experience in playing guitar, you don't even know exactly what goes into a guitar, that's really tough. And the odds are, of course, that you will end up with something that you don't really like. Look, we're all different, right? We're on different paths. We're on different points of our path through life. So we have different budgets. And there's nothing wrong with that. And basically, what you need to be is honest to yourself. What is my budget here? Because buying a guitar can quite easily turn into like buying a car. You start off with an idea what you want to pay, and then you think, well, if I only pay another X amount of dollars. Oh, when you've finally agreed to that, you think, well, if I just paid a little bit more. It's the same with guitars. You might have set a budget of $250, let's say, and then you see a guitar in the store and say, oh, but that's $300. Perhaps that's much better. And when you get used to that, you think, oh, that's just $350, only 50 bucks more. Stay true to your budget, man. There are plenty of good guitars that do not cost too much. So don't go overboard on this. It's your first guitar. It doesn't have to be fancy. It has to be nice. Okay, it has to be good to play. But you don't have to worry about brands or anything else. It should just be playable and enjoyable. That's the whole point of it. So don't care about that. Just set a budget to what can you actually afford. If you have a no limit budget, cool. Go right ahead and buy the custom stuff. But if you don't, which I didn't, or which I still don't, you can find really good guitars at reasonable prices. Well, first, let me just ask you this, perhaps simple and a little bit ridiculous question. Do you actually want an electric guitar? Because at one point, a parent asked me about, I need to buy a guitar for my son, right? Okay, and I asked, well, what kind of guitar? I don't know, he's going to start playing guitar. Yeah, but that's a lot of stuff, So the basic question is, what kind of guitar do you really need? So this video is focused on electric guitars. Okay, but there are nylon acoustics, there are semi-acoustics, and there is a variety of different guitars if you look out into the world scene of music, right? So if you don't know, ask the teacher where your kid is going, or think about what you want to do, and be sure that it actually is an electric guitar you're looking for. Okay, let's go. When buying a guitar for the very first time, I would opt for going for a new guitar. You can of course find a lot of used guitars, But if you have no experience with guitars at all, how would you even decide or find out if one of these guitars that you find used or have problems with them, unless it's painfully obvious, you know? There could be a lot of hidden errors there, and I think that your best bet would be to go to a physical guitar store, and if something shows up later on, you can bring it back. You can discuss it with the people there. So I think your best bet of finding a good first guitar is there. Now, that being said, if you know what you're doing and know how to evaluate these things, you could very well end up buying things online later on, but not for the first guitar. That's just my idea. Okay, so do I have to buy an expensive guitar to make it sound good? The answer is no, but the question is really formulated in the wrong way. So let's take an example. Let's take a great football player like Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Messi or one of these guys. You just put ordinary sneakers on these guys. They would still outplay you in football in any capacity. It doesn't matter if you get to wear all the cool shoes and stuff. They are still better football players. And it's the same if you hand Steve Vai, one of the world's greatest guitarists, a guitar for, I don't know, $100. He would still outplay you, even though you had a $3,000 guitar made by Gibson or Ibanez or one of these. It's not the guitar that makes the guitarist, it's the guitarist to play the guitar. And so the expensive guitars allow these great players to have a marginal utility. So they have features, they have better electronics, they are built better, they are more stable guitars, so they are better if they're more expensive, generally. But it's not that, in that you cannot draw the conclusion that if you buy an expensive guitar, you will automatically become a much better guitarist, right? So my tip, if you're not sure if this is something for you and you just want to get into guitar, I mean, unless your budget is more or less unlimited, you know, stick to a cheaper guitar. I would say the limit is around $200. There are guitars below that, although I would not necessarily recommend them. But if you can find one and all the steps we're going to go through in this video checks out, could be a good starter guitar, you know? You have to find out. But as a rough guide, nothing below 200, but you don't have to go particularly high. Not on your first guitar. Okay, so what about all these different shapes and sizes? It doesn't really matter, okay? I know it does to a lot of guitarists. We argue about, is a Stratocaster better than a Telecaster, or is a Gibson Les Paul and different Ibanez styles? And you know what? If you're starting out, don't give a shit. That's not the main issue. It doesn't matter. There are other things that you should look at, so don't really worry about that. That being said, check out this. No dumb cool stuff, okay? There are a lot of guitars that are made that shouldn't probably be made. And if they should be made, they're not for you if you're completely out of the gates, right? They shouldn't be two guitars stuck together. They shouldn't be in weird V shapes that you can't actually wear on yourself when you sit around playing. Think about it, you're gonna sit around for tens of thousands of hours, right? Just practicing your scales. You need to be able to rest the guitar. It's important, right? And no dumb stuff like 7 strings or 8 strings or 12 strings or whatever. That's not what your teacher is going to start you off with, right? So keep it simple. There should be 6 strings, okay? 6 strings, and it should be comfortable to use. No dumb, cool shit on your first guitar, that is. Okay, so you walk into the store, right? And there are just rows and rows and rows of guitars. And you start looking at them, and you don't know really where to start. I would start with the necks, because they're hanging up usually. It will be like this, okay? Like this. And you can feel. So just take your finger and just run it up and down, okay? Are there bumps here? That's a no, okay? Move on. Can you see any scratches, any tear? Are there room between these different kinds of woods, for instance? That's a no. They should be smooth. Now, why is this important? Because they could mean that the wood is actually drying up and shrinking, right? And that's not good. And this should feel smooth, because you need that action to be able to move up and down that neck quickly. That's one of the main points of having a good electric guitar. You can play fast and you can move fast. So that's basically it. You need to check that the whole neck is actually smooth. There's no bumps. There are no tears or cracks or anything like that, right? And here's the kicker. You see these metal things? Those are bars, okay? There's a lot of things that could be said about bars, but we'll keep it short now, okay? If you move your fingers like this, it should not hurt. There should be none of these sticking out. If they do, they're either poorly built or the wood has shrunk, okay? And what will happen if you play a lot here, you will cut yourself, and that's not a good feeling. It will not inspire you to play more, okay? So you need to look for that. So you're looking for cracks, you're looking for tear, you're looking for the smoothness of the neck, right? And you're looking for these bars not sticking out. Now a nerd would say, well, you can always file those down. No, you can't. No, you definitely can't. Not if you are the person this video is actually aiming at, okay? If you're a total guitar geek and you've been playing for 20 years, yes, you can learn to do that. It will most of the time not be very good, but you could learn. You can't, so don't even bother. When you buy your first guitar, these things should just be there. Okay? There's no sort of meddling with this on your own afterwards. Okay, so you find one or a couple that you think the neck looks really good and the body sort of inspires you a little bit. You think, yeah, this could be the one. Okay, so you go out into the desk and you ask the guy in the, at the desk there, can I please try this out? And you always ask. They will allow it most of the time, but you always ask. It's just a courtesy. And so what you do is you take it down and you put it in your lap and you ask, hey, I would like to try this on an amplifier, okay? And they will hand you an amplifier. And you say, well, I would like to borrow a pick. Okay, we'll need that later on. Not right now, but later on, okay? Fine, so you're sitting there with the guitar, and now we need to check the electronics, okay? So I'm gonna turn this down. So we're sitting here with an electric guitar. We have a cable, okay? And that goes into a plug here. You hear that? There's no humming noises now. So the first check, okay? Are there any noise coming from this bell here? No, there's nothing, right? So if I play around with it and I'm just grooving and I'm on the stage, nothing. That's very, very good. Now the next thing are these tones. There should be no noise when doing this except for the metal sound. Yeah, that's fine. But it should not make an electric sound. It should not be nothing like that. And it's the same with these. If that sort of had some distortion or strange sound to them, that's bad. Then it goes back on the shelf, you try a new guitar. And the purist will say, well, Daniel, you can always change the electronics. And I say again, no, you can't. Not if you've never done this before. You can't. You will never level out those mics in the optimum position, and you will not do that properly. Perhaps if you're an electrician or something. So when you buy your first guitar, that should be there. There should be no strange noises coming from the mics or from the controls or from the plugin. Okay? There is a lot we can talk about regarding these mics and different mics. Okay? Single coils and humbuckers and different versions of everything. That's not super important when you start out. I would just say, if you find something that works, that will work for you. Okay? There are always fun stuff out there, but it should not malfunction. That's the main part. Okay? Because everything else you will sort of manipulate through an amp or a sound card into your computer anyway. So just make sure there are no glitches or strange sounds or anything like that when you plug it in. That's it for now, for the starter kit, okay? Okay, so now we come to the tricky one, okay? And I completely understand if you don't sort this out. And yes, all of these things can be adjusted for later on. But it's cool if it works out. If you actually walk into a store, these things should already be fixed. Not always, but they should. No self-respecting music store will have a guitar with, shitty intonation or a crappy string height. It doesn't, that's not a cool vibe, to send out into the marketplace. But we can start with the string height, okay? When you take a string and you play it, there should be no hindrance. It should not be. That means that the neck is bent or too straight, right? So it doesn't give it room to really ring. If you don't hold in any of the bars and just hit the note or the string, there should be a clean sound. Now, you could adjust the neck. Yes, you can't, but you could. So you could actually hand it in to someone or tell the store owner that, yes, I would like to buy this guitar, but you will need to adjust for that. I need a clean sound, so you need to adjust the neck. It's the neck that's a problem in that case, okay? The next thing is intonation. And we're not going to go into a deep dive on what that is, but basically, a particular note, let's say a C or a D or something like that, should sound the same all over the guitar. A G is a G. A G is not something else. Now, there are ways to sort of check this. So, but one of the easier ways, somewhat easier way, is to go to the 12th bar, okay? That's where you have the 2 dots. So let me lower this. You see here, we have 2 dots. So what you will do is you take the pick that you borrowed and you will do a flageoletto. You will just hold it over the string. You do not push. You hear? And then you put the finger hard on the fret. That should be the same tone. Did you hear that that's not the same? So you see why I brought this guitar for this instruction, because it's shoddy intonated and I need to intonate it. So all of that is possible, but ideally those 2 notes, when you just hit the flageoletto, that's just holding the finger over the string, and when you push it down, sorry about that, should be the same note. What that means basically is that the intervals are correct here, that when you move up, you will have exactly the correct note at all times. I understand if that is hard. If you feel that is just, I don't get it, don't matter. Ask someone to check the intonation for you, but do the test with the open strings so that they don't actually hit the fretboard, right? And give these weird sounds. This should be a clear tone. Without the distortion pedal, of course. So that's it, okay? If you have followed these steps now, congratulations, you have probably found a guitar that is pretty good. You know, it will be perfectly decent for any price range now. Now, the final really important stuff is, does it inspire you? Okay, because you're gonna spend thousands of hours on this. I mean, literally thousands of hours to get really good at this. And if you're lucky and it's inspiring you, it will make it much more fun. It will be easier. You will feel cool when you play it. You will feel, you know, it's just groovy, man. So try to feel, can I see myself with this one? It's like a new love. It's like a new romance. Does this feel right? Is this a cool match for me? If it is, congratulations, man. You have just found yourself a life soulmate, and you will have so much fun, and you will be larger than life. I promise you that. There's nothing better than to just shred out on your guitar, man. Good luck with that. Okay. Oh, okay, you're back, man. Okay, sorry, I thought we were done. All right, so we're gonna go through all the dots again, all the highlighted points, right? Number one, do you actually want an electric guitar? Okay, find out what is it, what kind of teacher is this kid going to, or you, by the way. Okay, number one, it is an electric guitar. Okay, what kind of price range are you thinking of? Please don't go below $200. Having said that, I have to stress that any guitar is better than no guitar. Any guitar is better than no guitar. But if you have the money, I would like to advise you to go somewhere above $200. You don't have to go extreme. This is not an investment. You're not going to hang it on your wall. You're going to shred it. You're going to have it play every day. So don't think of it as an investment. Think of it as a tool through which all your guitar skills are going to be manifested. Okay, so you start with inspecting the neck, cracks, bumps, anything that seems weird, right? No, and it's smooth. We don't have the sharp edges, nothing like that. We inspected the electronics. There were no strange sounds when we checked all the knobs here. You know, we're cool. Didn't bother us anyway, right? And the string height seemed right, and we sort of did our best with the intonation stuff, and the feel is good. You're all done, man. Buy that guitar. And I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, you didn't like it? Well, bring it back. You know, if you live in a country that has proper sort of purchasing laws, bring it back, man. The important thing here is that it doesn't have any faults coming out of the factory, and that is at the same time inspires you. Okay, it's super important. My first guitar was a horrible Stratocaster knockoff from Japan. Horrible. The neck was crap. It was large and bulky. It didn't intonate shit. You know, you couldn't play anything. But you know what? I kept playing that guitar, man. Every day. Every day. Because any guitar is better than no guitar. Having a guitar in your life is always better than having no guitar in your life. It's just the fact of life, man. Guitar is cool. So go out there. And a final note. Buy it at the store. It's okay to go and buy online or used when it's your second or third or fourth guitar. Fine. because then you know what to look for when it arrives, and you can sort of work through, okay, what kind of problems could there be here? If it's an expensive guitar, there will be less problems. But your first guitar, you should definitely buy that at the store, because you have the extra security, and you also support the local industries. It's important that we buy from the local stores, because otherwise we don't have them. And everyone that's new in the game needs to have a store to go to, someone to just talk to, and exchange ideas and find things. It's not that easy. So do it for the newbies, man, and buy it in the store. Support your local, music store, and be cool with that. I mean, sure, if you're on the very last dollar, and you can find it online, sure, buy it. But I'm just saying, if you can afford it, buy it at the local store. It will help your community long term, and I think it's important that there are music stores in our towns. Okay. So that's just my opinion. You do whatever you feel is right. That's just my opinion. So I see you out there, man. I hope to see you soon play at a gig near me. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you'd like me to do more of these videos, please comment that so I know. I have some ideas, but I don't know if people are interested. So peace out and take care of yourself, man.